Blue Falls jolted awake, her breath coming in short, sharp gasps. Her heart pounded in her chest as she stared wide-eyed at the ceiling, the remnants of the recurring dream still clinging to her like a damp, suffocating shroud. The same dream, the same haunting faces, the same echoes of voices she couldn't quite place. She pressed her palms against her forehead, trying to push the images away, trying to ground herself in the present. Sweat beaded on her skin, the sheets tangled around her legs as she sat up, pushing them away with a frustrated sigh. The room was dimly lit by the early morning light filtering through the curtains, casting long shadows across the floor. She rubbed her eyes, trying to shake off the lingering unease, then reached over to the nightstand where her scroll lay. With a swipe of her thumb, the screen lit up, and a series of unread messages greeted her. Some were from teammates, a few from acquaintances in Vale, and a couple from work, routine Huntress requests. But the ones that caught her eye were the messages from her father. Her chest tightened slightly as she tapped on his name, the familiar warmth of his words already offering a small comfort before she even read them. She needed that comfort right now, something to pull her out of the darkness of her own thoughts. Dad.
Morning, Blue. Just checking in. Hope you slept well. I'll be around if you want to talk or if you need anything. Also, I was thinking about making that stew you like tonight. Maybe add a little extra spice. Just how you like it. What do you think? Take it easy today, okay? You're always pushing yourself so hard. Maybe stop by when you have a break. We can catch up.
Blue couldn't help but smile, her father's messages bringing a sense of normalcy back into her day. The dream still lingered in the back of her mind, but his words helped ease the tension in her chest. She took a deep breath, replying quickly. Blue.
Hey, Dad, just woke up. Sleep was okay, I guess. Got some Huntress work lined up today, but I'll definitely stop by tonight. Stew sounds perfect. Love you.
Blue sent the message and then leaned back against her pillows, letting herself relax for a moment. The dream might have shaken her, but the day ahead was a chance to push forward, to keep moving. And tonight, she'd have a chance to unwind with the person who knew her best. With that thought in mind, Blue swung her legs over the side of the bed and stood up, ready to face whatever the day had in store. It's been 2 weeks since Blue's team left for Mistral, and she was feeling down because she hadn't heard from Evelyn in a while. She got up, dressed in her Huntress gear, and headed for the cafe. She ordered her usual cup of coffee when she started hearing Lisa Lavender on the TV.
In other news, this Saturday's Fauna civil rights protest turned dark when members of the White Fang disrupted the ceremony. The once peaceful organization has now disrupted.
Blue walked out of the cafe and headed for the Huntsman Center to accept a job. There weren't many huntsmen and huntresses here today, probably because of the dust robberies that have been going on recently. Most huntsmen relied on dust to fight the Grimm, but Blue needed the lean. She observed the job list and looked through them.
Okay, let's see. Beowulfs near the city, Deathstalker Den, oh, a couple of Ursai nearing a village.
Blue typed her name on the Ursai job and headed out toward the village. On her way to the village, she hears the sound of wings flapping and looks to see a winged faunus flying over her. She continued on her mission as she came across some tracks. She knelt down and figured they belonged to 2 Ursai Grimm. Suddenly, a scream is heard as she runs toward it. She arrives to see a little girl up in a tree as an Ursa is reaching up to devour her. Blue grabs her weapons, Dragon's Claw, which were 2 chain blades that had dragon figureheads on their heels. She wanted to attack the Ursa but had to worry about the girl. She had to lure the Grimm away.
Hey, Yogi.
The Ursa turns toward her. She slowly backs away as it stalks her.
Run back to your village.
The child doesn't get down from the tree.
Behind you.
Blue looks behind her to see an alpha Beowulf blocking her escape. Suddenly, a sigh impales the Beowulf in its shoulder. Blue looks up to see the winged faunus slam himself into the Grimm, stabbing it with a staff that had another sigh at the end. The Beowulf falls to the ground as the faunus twists his weapon, killing the Grimm. He suddenly looks at Blue.
Dodge to your left now.
Blue quickly turns and sees the Ursa about to slice her with its claws, but she immediately dodges to her left.
How did this guy know which way for me to dodge?
Blue thought.
Who are you?
Let's worry about that later, please.
The Ursa attempts to attack Blue, but she forms scale armor to protect herself from the Grimm's bite, as she then stabs it in its eye with Dragon's Claw, killing the beast.
Now that was something.
Now can you tell me what your name is?
Sky points behind Blue.
We aren't done yet, miss.
Blue looks to see another Ursa as a pack of Beowulfs join in as well.
Are you kidding me?
As the Grimm begin to close in, Blue and Sky stand side by side, blocking the Grimm from getting anywhere near the child. As they ready their weapons, the ground shakes as a dust cloud forms on a cliff above the battle. The Grimm also notice this when all of a sudden a Deathstalker is thrown into the air as the one who threw it grabbed its tail and swung it to the ground atop the Ursa and Beowulfs. The area was covered in dust as a large figure walks out, revealing to be another huntsman. From what Blue noticed, she saw that this huntsman was a Faunus too.
Well, that takes care of that.
The three put their weapons away.
Are you out of your mind?
Ivan turns to Sky.
What's with you, pal?
Did you even think before you decided to throw a freaking Deathstalker at us like that? This child was near the battle and you could have injured or killed her, or worse yet, me.
I didn't even see you guys here when I was a little preoccupied trying to take care of the Grimm.
Big surprise there.
Excuse me, bird brain.
Blue steps between them as she creates another set of arms to hold them back.
What the...
Will you both stop? You're just going to attract more Grimm to our location.
Ivan made a stern look until he realized she was right.
Let's first get this little girl home and then you two can hash it out.
Fine.
Blue walks over to the little girl and puts away her extra arms.
Would you like to go home, little one?
The child starts to sob as Ivan kneels down in front of her and pulls out a white cloth from his coat.
Here, wipe away those tears, little one. Do you have a name?
Layla. My name is Layla.
That's a beautiful name, Layla. Can you lead us to your village?
Layla nods and grabs Blue by the hand and starts leading her to the village. Ivan and Sky follow the two.
Hey, listen, sorry for being a jerk to you.
No, I shouldn't have lashed out at you the way I did.
You were right, though. I should be more aware of my surroundings.
Let's just say we were both in the wrong and start over, shall we?
Agreed. The name is Ivan Sachs.
Pleasure to meet you, Ivan. My name is Sky Altair.
As the three huntsmen and Layla arrive at the village, a woman can be seen running to Layla.
Layla, there you are.
Layla starts running to the woman.
Mama, Mama!
Layla and her mother embrace each other in a hug as tears begin to stream down their faces. Layla's mother then looks at Blue and the other two standing behind her and walks over to them.
Thank you for returning my daughter. Thank you so much.
Just doing our jobs, miss.
Please, can I offer you and your team a place for the night?
Oh, I appreciate the offer, but we
We would love to. And if there's anything we can do to help around here, don't be afraid to ask.
Ivan winks at Blue as she goes along with it.
Come with me. Oh, and my name is Angie.
Ivan Sachs, ma'am.
Sky Altair.
Blue Falls.
Later that night, the town gathers at the inn, and Ivan is seen standing on a chair talking about one of his Grimm encounters.
And there I was, staring into the gaping mouth of a massive blind worm as it swallowed me whole.
How did you get out?
Oh, that's the best part. But first, children, cover your ears.
The children cover their ears, raises his gauntlets in the air.
I loaded Quake and Aftershock with earth dust and slammed the surface of the Grimm's insides and blew a mountain-shaped hole through the beast. After that, I looked in front of me, and I arrived at the bar I was looking for in the first place.
The crowd broke out laughing as Blue and Sky watched from the second-floor porch.
How many is that now? 6 stories of him fighting a Grimm.
I can tell you haven't met Professor Port.
Beacon Academy?
Yes. Did you attend there?
Nah, I went to Haven Academy.
Wait, you're originally from Mistral?
Yep. Born and raised there.
I was born in Atlas.
Then how did you end up in Beacon?
That is actually a long story, but it is getting late.
All right then.
Well, I guess I'll see you guys in the morning.
Right, of course. Good night, Ms. Falls.
The village was quiet as Blue made her way through the village, her footsteps soft against the stones as she headed toward the small inn where she would be staying for the night. She had planned to be back in Vale by now, to have dinner with her father like she promised. But the day had gotten away from her. A mission had come up, and she'd ended up in this remote village, far from home. The huntsman she'd met along the way had suggested this place as a good spot to rest, and she'd been too tired to argue. As Blue approached the inn, she pulled out her scroll. The screen lit up with a few missed messages, but she only had one thing on her mind right now. She stopped at the entrance to the inn, leaning against the wooden doorframe as she typed out a message to her father. Blue,
Hey, Dad. I'm really sorry I couldn't make it to dinner tonight. I ran into some huntsmen and ended up having to crash at a village for the night. It's been a long day, but I'm okay. I wish I could have been there. I know how much you were looking forward to it. I'll make it up to you. I promise. We'll do something special when I get back. I miss you. Love you, Dad.
She hit send and slipped the scroll back into her pocket. The innkeeper gave her a kind nod as she stepped inside, the warmth of the fire in the hearth immediately wrapping around her. The common room was nearly empty, save for a few travelers quietly nursing their drinks. Blue exchanged a few polite words with the innkeeper before heading up the creaky wooden stairs to her room. Once inside, she let out a sigh of relief. The room was small, but cozy. Simple wooden furniture, a bed with thick blankets, and a window that overlooked the village square. She set her gear down by the door and crossed the room to the window, gazing out at the peaceful village. The sight of it made her heart ache a little, thinking of her father back in Vale, probably sitting by the window himself, waiting for a daughter who wouldn't come home tonight. Blue shook off the thought and turned away from the window. She needed rest, and there would be time to make things right when she got back. She changed into more comfortable clothes and climbed into the bed, pulling the blankets up to her chin. As she lay there, staring up at the wooden ceiling, her scroll buzzed softly on the nightstand. She reached over and saw a message from her father. Dad.
Don't worry about it, Blue. I'm just glad you're safe. We can have dinner anytime. You just focus on taking care of yourself, okay? Love you too.
Blue smiled at the message, feeling a little lighter. She put the scroll down and closed her eyes, letting the exhaustion of the day finally take over. As she drifted off to sleep, her thoughts were of home, of her father, and of the promise of a warm meal and a long-overdue conversation when she finally returned. The next morning, the three are seen walking toward the village gates as Angie and Layla meet them there. Layla walks up to Blue as she gets down on one knee.
You be careful from now on, okay, Layla?
Yes, miss. I promise.
You're always welcome here.
Thank you, ma'am.
Until next time. Farewell.
As the trio leaves the village, Blue looks behind her to see Layla and Angie waving goodbye to them. She waves back, but then gains a sad expression. Yvonne notices this. The trio travels in silence until Yvonne breaks it.
So, you guys up for a drink?
This early? Seriously?
What?
Ivan realized what Blue meant, and he facepalmed himself.
No, not like that. I meant coffee or some tea.
I could go for some tea.
Ivan smiles and then looks back at Blue.
You up for it?
Sure. Tea sounds nice.
I know a good place in Vale.
The trio arrives in downtown Vale and they head for the cafe until Blue notices the cops gathered at the dust shop formerly known as From Dusk to Dawn, but it looks destroyed.
Oh no.
Ivan and Sky stop to see what they missed.
Whoa.
What happened here?
Looks like another dust robbery.
This has been happening normally.
I don't think dust shops being robbed every day is normal. But this sucks.
How so?
The mission boards were vacant yesterday. With these robberies, huntsmen can't risk going into battle without their dust.
Exactly the reason I'm glad I went to Beacon Academy instead of Atlas.
Why is that?
When my team fought in the Vital Festival, I swear every time we went up against a team from Atlas, they were a bunch of trigger-happy morons that couldn't hold their...
Ivan looks at Blue as she gives him an upset look.
You're from Atlas, aren't you?
I was born and raised there, but I ended up going to Beacon after I had an outburst against my team leader.
Outburst?
I unlocked my semblance.
What even is your semblance?
I can adapt myself to any environment, but I only use it when I'm too hot or too cold. I change my body temperature, but I can also form faunus traits to my body.
That's cool.
Since we're sharing, mind if we continue our conversation in the cafe?
Right. Of course.
They arrive at the cafe, and Ivan pays for their coffee and tea.
So, what would you like to know first?
Well, actually, I was curious about your semblance. You told me to dodge the Grimm's attack before it happened. Are you able to see the future?
Chuckles.
No, I don't see the future. My semblance is called preflexes. I can predict attacks or events before they happen, but it only activates within 5 to 10 seconds at most.
I guess that would mean that I wouldn't last long in a sparring match against you.
Who knows? Only time will tell.
Ivan scoffs as he takes a sip of his tea.
What about you, big guy? Your semblance. What can you do?
Oh, my semblance is called kinetic disbursement. I absorb the energy from my enemy's attacks, and I can throw it back at them. But over the years, I've found out how I can apply dust to my semblance.
Really?
Yeah. I connect the dust to my quake and aftershock, so I can deliver a more direct approach.
What happens when you don't have any more dust?
Then I just rely on my semblance and my training.
An awkward silence befalls the trio until Blue breaks the silence.
Thank you for the tea, Ivan. And it was nice meeting you both. I hope this won't be the last time we meet.
Likewise.
Until we meet again.
The trio leaves the cafe and heads off in their own directions. Ivan went to find an inn to stay at, Sky took to the skies to look for more Grimm, and Blue went to Beacon Academy to see the new first years. Beacon Academy Auditorium. Blue walked through the doors of her old school and saw Professor Ozpin naming the teams.
Russell Thrush, Carden Winchester, Dove Bronzewing, Sky Lark.
The screen of the auditorium shows each of their profiles as the boys are lined up for the applauding audience to see as Ozpin continues.
The four of you retrieved the Black Bishop pieces. From this day forward, you will work together as Team CRDL, led by Carden Winchester.
The audience gives one more wave of ovation, while 4 students walk up to the stage to take their places in front of the headmaster as their faces fill the screen.
John Ark, Ren, Pyrrha, Nikos, Nora, Valkyrie. The four of you retrieved the white rook pieces. From this day forward, you will work together as Team JNPR.
Amid the clapping, Nora laughs and gives Ren a hug.
Led by John Ark.
Huh? Led by
Ozpin. Congratulations, young man. A grinning Pyrrha offers a friendly shoulder bump to John, but her fine leader is knocked over and falls to his butt in front of the laughing audience.
And finally, Blake Belladonna, Ruby Rose, Weiss Schnee, Yang Xiao Long.
Motions over the 4 as they stand before him.
The four of you retrieved the white knight pieces. From this day forward, you will work together as Team RWBY, led by Ruby Rose.
Well, if isn't that ironic?
I'm so proud of you.
They look promising enough.